Hey everyone, it's the Lost Cards, and it's me, Andy from Commander's Brew. Hey, this is where we take a look at our commander from this week, and we look at all the different angles that we didn't brew around from the deck before. This is Tovolar, and we got werewolves, obviously, but there's a couple of different things we can do. Check it out. All right, everyone, welcome back. It's the Lost Cards. It's Tovalar, and tribal decks are kind of tough to do when it comes to Lost Cards. You're tribal deck. That's what you are. You're a tribal. Well, I've been tribal commander.
Right.
This is what I do. But there's actually a couple different things we can do with these tribal commanders, and specifically Tovolar Dire Overlord ends up being there's some stuff here. Let's think. So earlier in the week we had our main deck, which was largely an upgrade from a very old deck we had. We just talked about all the new werewolf cards that we had. We mostly just stuck to werewolves and wolves getting in, crashing in, big creatures. We're talking trample, we're talking tokens. That's what we were doing. Honestly, nothing super out of the ordinary. But when it comes to Lost Cards, we got to get wild, baby. So let's read what Tovolar does, and then we'll talk about it. Sean, why don't you read Tovolar here for us?
Sure. We got a day-bound side and a night-bound side. I'm assuming by now you know how the day-night thing works, how we switch. But on day-bound, you start as a 1 red green 3/3 human werewolf. Whenever a wolf or werewolf deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more wolves and or werewolves, it becomes night and you get the day-bound side. You also transform any number of human werewolves in case you've got old school werewolves. And then you got on the night-bound side Tovalar the Midnight Scourge. 4/4, same thing about wolves and werewolves dealing damage and drawing cards. But now you got Kessig Wolf Run as an activated ability without a tap. X red green, target wolf or werewolf you control gets +X/+O and gains trample till end of turn.
Right nice. On. So, I mean, you can see what we did. We just did these things. We did what this wants us to do. However, if we want to lean away from that, we want to, get a little original going here. One thing that leapt out at me was just forget about werewolves altogether. Forget about flipping. Forget about day and night. Who cares? Just go with the wolves. There's tons of wolves over all of Magic's history that are really cool, really good, tons of really cool abilities. And if we can just lean on the wolves, Tovalar's abilities are still just as good, right? Like smacking in and dealing damage and drawing cards is obviously incredible no matter what's going on. And then, being able to pump them obviously still works as well. Cards like Wolfbriar Elemental get really, really good in this deck, especially if you lean towards like ramping as well, like into that Gruul kind of identity with that. This one's got multi-kicker, so if we get a ton of green mana into this, we can make a bunch of 2/2 green wolf creature tokens for each time it was kicked. Like, that's really good. And then
I bet you this deck's more powerful this way on average.
I think so too. I really do, because it's more about getting the little tricks in as opposed to simply playing fair creatures all the time, right? Like Wolfbriar Elemental, like generating a ton of mana and then making them all in one go, like that's way more powerful. Mm-hmm. And not to mention when we're doing some kind of shenanigans with Feed the Pack, the 6 mana enchantment that's at your end step, you can sacrifice a non-token creature and then put X 2/2 green wolf creature tokens, where X is the sacrifice creature's toughness.
Ooh, toughness. Interesting.
Yeah, toughness is interesting because we can't Kessig Wolf Run that. We can't make that work. It's a bummer. But
in my brain, it was power. I forgot it was toughness.
Me too. But it's still to say that's not good. Like we there's a lot of anthems, as you saw in the main episode. So our creatures tend to get quite big, especially our non-token creatures. So if you're leaning towards the wolf side of things, there's still tons of big wolves. Feed the Pack's going to be able to get you a ton, and just transforming them, or essentially transforming one big wolf into 5 or 6 pretty big wolves, because we're going to be, especially if you have 1 or 2 of the anthems out, Feed the Pack is an incredible card. And then there's I think you can even kind of go down a whole route just with this card,
which we have done.
Yes, we have. Exactly. We've done a couple. Never a Gruul deck. Always we've led lean towards rather Abzan and Golgari, obviously lean with that black, with that sacrifice thing. But red likes to sacrifice. Red can get down with some
Red
some
loves
sacrificing,
sacrifice.
right? So like a sacrifice wolves deck with feed the pack is like one of your main set pieces.
Yeah.
Stuff like evolutionary leap in there,
Well, we'll probably
getting to getting to like the main card creatures by sacrificing the wolves. I think that sounds real good.
Yeah, if you've got a wider budget, obviously Xenagos is like doubling power and toughness. There's that new green enchantment that doubles your power and toughness at the beginning of every combat. So like by the time the end of your turn rolls around, it's like, how much toughness on this thing? Oh, 14? Okay, thanks. I'll take those wolves. We're probably going to put in a ton of like ETB creature tricks. So like, yeah, man. This deck seems like I'd rather play this Tovolar deck.
Yeah, I know. Me too. It's so funny that like the Lost Cards, it ends up being this thing where I'm like, hey, I love the deck I brewed. I love the deck we talked about. But man, these other ones seem pretty cool too. And I don't know if it's like grass is greener or whatever, but
right.
It happens a lot of the time.
Well, in this case, it's not a huge surprise because Tovolar, like just werewolves in general, are just... most of them are kind of plain creatures. They're not that...
I'm shocked at the number of... I guess I shouldn't say that. I'm not shocked. I understand it because I'm like, okay, you got to make these for limited. So like most werewolves are nothing on the front side and then like a very mild upgrade on the back. And I get it. That's for limited and whatever. Yeah. But I guess I just want those commander ones where it's like something really cool in the front and the back. I just want the rare ones, Surprising we didn't get... like, I truly was expecting to get our werewolf commander in the commander extra product. I know, yeah.
Where they could have just pushed it to the teeth, given us some werewolf creatures in there that are straight busted for standard, but like in commander, they keep up. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe Wizards have painted themselves into a corner because they keep pushing and pushing and pushing cards. They keep printing cards explicitly for commander, so our average power level is just going higher and higher and higher. So the chances of standard legal cards crossing over into commander decks just get slower and lower. Yeah, it's a shame. It's funny because I did think when I saw the day and night thing at first, I was like, oh, they're going to make a commander deck based around this. Like, why not?
And it's Midnight Hunt, so we're going to get a werewolf commander deck. We all assumed, but I guess not. I mean, there's still hope. Could they give us one in the vampire set? You think? Well, it would make way less sense, but maybe. I mean, they gave us like a curse one or a zombie one. Like, anyways. The final one here that I was thinking about is, it kind of comes up in every tribal deck now. But Maskwood Nexus ends up being interesting, just making everything a wolf. So you can do this with any number of colors and just have Tovalar be like just an interesting 99 card that's gonna play into these sort of Maskwood Nexus tribal decks, right? But tribal. It works really. It does work well. There's some stuff going on with like humans and werewolves and all that kind of stuff that like Tovalar won't change. There's something about changing the like not changing them or something. Anyways, there's a weird non-bow that happens with Maskwood Nexus and Tovalar. But if you lean towards and just make everything wolves and then care about that, then you have a lot of fun. And then there's of course the the version where we use a bunch of changelings and we do all the changeling stuff. So yeah, that's tribal for you. That's just classic tribal. But I gotta say, I really like this commander because there's a couple other little things we can do, even within that like tribe, like saying like werewolves and wolves being a tribe together. Like it means that we've got a little flexibility when it comes to how we build the decks and things like that. Yeah, it's the only shame. The thing that is a shame is that
although I don't know for sure, are creatures that are werewolves also not wolves?
They
what
are
about
not
that?
wolves. That's right.
So then, like, we usually get around it because this like human werewolf. So
Yeah.
like it counts as a human and a werewolf. But then there are these cool werewolf only creatures that don't get the wolf bonus.
Right, but there's nothing that cares. There's nothing. Well, very few things that only care about wolves. Most things care about. Will say wolf or werewolf.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's better then.
Yeah, so they've done that on purpose because it makes sense. Like if a wolf can do it, a werewolf can do it, right? Like why not?
Yeah.
So to include them both makes a ton of sense to me.
Well, you know how I feel about wizards and the way they deal with creature types. There's no rules. They can do whatever they want.
It's true. It's true. They make their own rules when it comes to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. I mean, again, it's fairly narrow. We're talking tribal, but I think there's a little bit of wiggle room here. You can do some interesting things.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what happens in the next 5 years to werewolves. I'm sure we'll find something fun. But until then, that's Lost Cards. Check out the original episode again. Tovolar. It's a big upgrade, update thing. We talk about the state of werewolves, kind of, and check that out. Check out a bunch of our other videos. We got all kinds of stuff. We've been making content for a long time now. This is episode 316 from this past week. It's wild, wild. I went back to episode 37 this week and listened to it. So anyways, check it out. We'll see you guys next week, though. Brand new deck tech, brand new Lost Cards. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Sorry, I hit that button. I'm going to try to do this. Brand new deck tech, brand new Lost Cards. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you love what we're doing, consider supporting the show by going to patreon.com/commandersbrew.
And if you want to get any of the cards from our deck list, go to our TCG Player affiliate link below.
That helps us out too, and for a free way to help us out, consider sharing the show with some friends. Like and subscribe, add a comment or two.
See you later.
Bye.